I'm just going to go through it and work it out for you right here in this video. So the first thing we want to do is copy over the relevant information into the boxes. And as I went through in class, this is a pretty tedious but important step. So right here, this box you're looking at, this is going to be for item A. So I'm going to go ahead and put A here in this box. And then I'm going to go through and fill out that this is item A, and the lead time for item A is 1 week. And in class I went down, but because the way this computer is, I'm going to go across. And the order quantity for this one, it's lot for lot, so I'm going to put L for L here. And I've already noted that there are 10 on hand and 0 scheduled receipts, so I'm just going to go ahead and put a 0 in here just because I want to make sure I don't forget in other ones. And then you'll notice here I already have 50 that are the gross requirements in week 5 and week 100, and I get that from right up here where it's highlighted. So now I'm just going to go about working down through this first part here. You'll notice that we need 50 in week 5 and 100 in week 8, so we have 10 on hand. We'll bring that 10 across by just noting in each box that that's 10. And you can just, probably draw a line with a pencil, but since I don't have that. And then in this period, period 5, we've got our 10 on hand, but we need 50, so I can't slash through this box. So I'm just going to tell you we had 10 on hand, but it's going to go to 0 because we're going to have to use that 10 first, and then we're going to need 40 more. So we'll place an order, we'll identify a net requirement for 40. We'll place that order the period before, and then it will come in here, and we'll move on then to the next period with 0 on hand. And then in this final period, again, we'll still have 0 on hand, so we'll then have that net requirement for all 100. And we'll place our order the week before. It will come in and we'll be all set. Now with this, we now know what we need to carry down to the children of A. So A has 2 children, B and C. And for each A we need 2 B's, so we'll put a 2 here. And for each C we need 3, so we'll put a 3 here. The lead time for B, of course, is 2 weeks, so we'll put 2 WK here. And for C, the lead time is 1 week. And with B, we can order lot for lot. Actually, B and C are both lot for lot, so I'll type that in, L for L, and I'll do it down here as well. We have projected on hand of B for 15 and C for 20. So now we're just going to bring down the planned order releases of the parent, which is A, into B, and so we're going to bring this down. We know we have to multiply it times 2, so we'll go ahead here and put 80, and here we'll put 200. And at the same time, let's just go down here and put this one in because we don't want to forget, and I can't really draw a line, so we're going to take 40 times 3 here, and we'll put 120, and over here we'll put 300. Then we bring across our 15 we have on hand. Oops, a typo there. 15, and then at the beginning of this period we have 15, but we need 80, so then that predicates a net requirement for 65. And we've got a 2-week lead time, so we're going to have to back here to order our 65. They'll come in right here. And so once we get through here, we've got our 65 on order. Then we notice that we've got our scheduled receipts of 10 here coming in. So this changes our on-hand inventory to 10, and we carry that over. So now when we get to period 7, we have 10, we need 200, so we're going to need to place an order for 190, and excuse me, we have a net requirement for 190, which will go back 2 periods to order, which will be right here, 190, and then those will come in this period, and we'll have 0 left over as we move forward into the next schedule. But I'm going to also write in here that we're going to need to carry these over to E and D, both 65 and 190, and it's kind of hard to draw lines like I do in class, but both of these are going to need to go be carried over, so I'll just highlight them. Now let's move on down here. I've got my 20 on hand, I brought that across. I've got my 20 that are scheduled receipts coming in here, so now I really have 40 on hand at the beginning of the period, so that means I'm going to order 80, and this, like I did up above, it really goes to 0, but just so you can see where that came from, I'll put the 40 there. And then we've got the 1-week lead time, so we're going to place our order right here, 80, and it's going to come in right there, and we're going to carry it over 0 across here. Then in this period we need 300, and I don't think we have any on hand because we've used them all. We only had the one scheduled receipt of 20 in week 4, so we've used that. So we've got a net requirement then of all 300, which we'll need to order 1 week in advance, which will be right here, and it will come in right here, and we will finish off this item with 0. Now, just like I did up here, let's think about where this needs to go. So this is C. It's going to need to go over to F and E, so I'm going to write that right in here. And then I'm going to highlight this just a little bit differently so that we can see it. So now what I'm going to do is go to the next page, and I'm going to set that page up. And so what I recommend is that you pause this video and you set up the page, and then you can kind of check it off of mine and make sure you've got all the on hand and scheduled receipts and all of that stuff kind of put in ahead of time, and then I'll pick up with the item on the top, which I'll put E up there on the top. Alright, so I've carried this stuff down, and I've tried to color code it as best I can. I much prefer a pencil, but anyhow. So here we are, we've got the stuff from B, from C, from B, from C. I've filled in everything for E here. As I said, I put E up on the top. These came from B and from C, so with E we can fill it all out. We're not going to be able to fill out the one below as we encountered in class D, and I believe we put D at the top in class. Can't really do D till we get E done, so we'll go ahead then and do work with E here. We have 80 projected on hand. We have scheduled receipts of 300. That gives us 380 on hand here, and here we've got this. It's actually not a gross requirement of 65. I just brought the 65 down to show you where it came from, so I need to turn this into a gross requirement. 65 times 2, or 130. And the same with C. I brought down the planned order release of the parent. I need to multiply that times 2, so it's going to change then to 160. And from B here, it's going to change to 380. And from C here, we had 300, and that will change then to 300 times 2, or 600. Now we'll go back over here and continue working along. We've got 380 on hand, and we need 130. which is going to leave us 250 on hand, because we have 380, we take away 130, we should get 250. And so then the next period, we have 250, and we need to use 160 of those, so we're going to have 90 left over. And now in this period we get 600 more, so now we add 600 plus 90, and we have 690 on hand. Now in period 5 we've got 690, and we need to use up 380 of those, so we end up with 310 left over, and we carry that to the next period where we need 600. So we now have determined that we've got a net requirement of 600 minus 310, or 290, and I believe we've got this lot sizing deal here, so we can't order 290, we're going to need to order 300, and we need to do it 2 weeks early, which is here. We place our order, the order comes in here, and we're going to have 10 left over that will carry on off into the future. Now this 300 will go to D, because D is also a child of E, as it is also a child of B. So we'll carry this down to period 4 right here, and we'll multiply it times 2, so it will be 600. And I'm going to make this, I'm going to highlight it some different colors so that you can sort of see that it's coming from that guy there. And then we've got to get the stuff from B, which we highlighted up here so we can see that B was 130 in period 2, so we can put that right in here. It was 65 multiplied by 2, or 130 from B. And we also have this 380 from B in period number 5, so we'll put that in there as well. So we're all set now. We've got 130 in period 2 from B, we've got 600 in period 4 that came from E, and we have 380 in period 5 that came from B. There, and I highlighted it so it was consistent. So now we're going to go down and work through D. So D, we've got 10 on hand, that gives us a total of 510. And then in period 2, we have 510 on hand, and we need to use 130 of those. So that gives us 380 left over. We carry our 380 to the next period, and now we need 600, and we have 380, so we're going to have a net requirement then of 220. So we'll put that in right here. This is essentially going to go to 0 for the time being, but because of the lot sizing rule of 500, we need 220, but we have to actually order 500 here. So 500 will come in here, and we will then have 280 left over here, and the 280 will go into this period. We'll have 280 on hand, but we need 180 or 380, so we're going to have to order, well, we're going to have a net requirement for another 100. Once again though, we have to order 500 because of the lot sizing rule, so our 500 come in, and of our 500 we only need 100, so we'll have 400 left over that will carry over. Now we've got these two 500s here. We look at the wiring diagram, and it appears that these two 500s don't need to go anywhere, right? Because D doesn't have any other children, so we'll leave those here for the time being and move on down to F. So F is the child of C, so we need to get the gross requirements filled in that are coming from the planned order releases of C, which are 65 in period 3 and 300 in period 6. I'm dividing by 2 here. So I'm going to carry these down 160, excuse me, in period 3 right here. So since F's parent is C, we carry these down. We've got 200 on hand and we don't have any scheduled receipts or anything coming in, so we carry our 200 across. 200 is going to be enough to fulfill our order requirement here for 160, so that just drops it to 40. We carry our 40 on over. And now here we've got 40, but we need 600. So we have a net requirement then of 560, but we can't order 560. We have to order 600 because we got this multiples of 200. So we drop back to 3 weeks early. So 1, 2, 3 right here. We order 600, and the 600 come in here, and we end up with 40 left over at the end of the period. Then we check to see if F has any children, and it doesn't appear that he does. So we should be done then with F. Now let's move on here to G. G is the child of E. So we gotta go back up here to E right here, and we take our 300 and we're gonna copy this down to period 4, and G is a 1 for 1, so we don't have to multiply it, and we've got 300 on hand, and we've got 0 scheduled receipts, comes in multiples of 200, so we carry our 300 over, and actually we end up with 0 on hand. We use our 300 and we have none left over at the end here. So that's G. And let's see, one other thing is D right here, where D's got E as the parent, which we already brought in, so we should be set. Now we just take these numbers and we're going to roll them up to the master production schedule. So we just take the net requirements and the planned order releases, and we essentially transpose them onto the master production schedule. So here we have our master production schedule, and we have our items up here. So we're going to transpose the net requirements and the planned order releases. So here are the net requirements right here, 40 in week 5 for A, so we'll put 40 in here, and the planned order releases are 40 in week 4, so we'll put that there, and 100 in week 8, and 100 in week 7 there. And then we'll go down to B, and I'll roll this down so I can see it here. And in B we've got a net requirement of 65 in week 4, so we'll put that in, which causes a planned order release in week 2 of 65. And we've got one of a net requirement of 190 in week 7, which causes then a planned order release in week 5 of 190. And then we go down to C, and we see that we've got a net requirement of 80 in week 4, and a planned order release of 80 in week 3, and a net requirement of 300 in week 7, and a and a planned order receipt of 300 in week 6. Now we truck on down here to D, and we see we've got a net requirement of 220 in period 4 and 100 in period 5, 20 and 100 in period 5, and then 500 in both periods 3 and 4. And then for E, we've got one net requirement in period 6, so that would be 876 here, 300. And here is the planned order release of 300. And then for F, we have one net requirement of 560 in period 6, so we'll put that one in here, 560, and the planned order release in period 3, which is here for 600 because of that lot sizing. And then we have G that has 0 net requirements. We'll just put a 0 in there in period 4, so we know 1, 2, 3, 4 that we didn't need to order anything. When we have this just makes it really easy to see everything that's going on for the requirement. As you can imagine, as a manager, this is a really useful tool to have. Just to give you one more look at how to do this. If you've got questions, you can refer to it, and I just hope you find it somewhat helpful. And I really strongly recommend that you get your take-home test for chapter 14 done before you come to class on Tuesday. I think you'll find that really helpful, and I'll get the rest of the take-home organized and ready to go, so you know which things to study as we move forward into the weeks as well. I do need you to fill out that survey on whether or not you can take the final on Tuesday night, because I did get us a room, but I need to make sure that the majority of the people can do so. If not, I'm going to have to stick with Thursday, so please answer my 1-minute survey that I've got posted to Blackboard, and hopefully the weather's going to get better and you're going to enjoy your weekend. So take care.